Joining me now is Newsweek senior editor-at-large, Josh Hammer. Josh, good to see you again. Talking about lefties losing it, let's check in to see how the leader of the free world is doing.
And when I was vice president, things were kind of bad during the pandemic. And what happened was Barack said to me, go to Detroit and help fix it. Well, poor mayor, he spent more time with me than he ever thought he was going to have to. God love you.
Vice President, during the pandemic, Barack said to go to Detroit. What pandemic is he talking about? What's going on, Josh?
I mean, Rita, I think what's going on is fairly obvious, which is that the purported leader of the free world is palpably senile, and he is losing control of both his physical faculties and his mental faculties. I mean, Rita, his staff has had to produce for him a bespoke pair of sneakers. He has to wear a special pair of sneakers, literally just to walk across the White House ellipsis to actually get to Marine One, the presidential helicopter, just to prevent him from tripping even more than he already is. And he's been tripping a lot over the course of his presidency. But however bad his physical decline is, his mental decline is obviously so much worse. I mean, I wouldn't even know where to begin when it comes to the shocking number of gaffes that we've seen over the past few years here from this pathetic excuse of a so-called president of the United States. This is only the latest example here. It's easy for us to joke about, Rita, but unfortunately, this has very real ramifications. I mean, dictators all around the world see the decrepit state of the commander-in-chief, and from Pyongyang to Moscow to Beijing and Tehran and everywhere in between, they are just licking their chops looking at this feckless excuse of a president.
And it's not just the gaffes, it's not just the cognitive decline. When he does put a sentence together, he's likely to be saying dangerous race-baiting speeches like this one he gave to black students at a college graduation ceremony in recent days.
You missed your high school graduation. You started college just as George Floyd was murdered, and there was a reckoning on race. It's natural to wonder if democracy you hear about actually works for you. What is democracy? If black men are being killed in the street, what is democracy? The trail of broken promises still leave black communities behind. What is democracy? You have to be 10 times better than anyone else to get a fair shot. And most of all, what does it mean, as we've heard before, to be a black man who loves his country, even if it doesn't love him back in equal measure?
It is just an incredible speech on so many levels, not just the falsehoods, not just the race baiting, but you just wonder what the motivation behind it is. Why does he want to put that message out there? Why does he want to tell black graduates that they need to be 10 times better than non-blacks to get a fair go, that they're being murdered in the streets?
Yeah, this speech was absolutely positively disgusting. I mean, talk about how a president of the United States should, in theory, try to uphold the best of the American tradition. You know, what Joe Biden should have done before he gave this speech at Morehouse College, which is historically viewed as probably the most prestigious of the HBCUs, the historically black colleges and universities in America, but he probably should have looked to some famous black Americans to see what they had to say about the American experiment, about our Constitution, about our Declaration of Independence. He should have looked to people like Martin Luther King, who spoke wondrously of the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence. He should have looked at Frederick Douglass back in the 19th century, the great slavery abolitionist, who spoke wonderfully about the Declaration of Independence and how this country was founded, that is, America was founded in a noble and just way for a noble and righteous and just cause. And you know, just to bring some kind of empirical teeth to it, Rita, as well, this notion that black men and women in America in the year 2024 have to work 10 times harder to make it. Are you kidding me? Since the Civil Rights Act of 1964, there has not been de jure under law state racism in America. In fact, the last vestige of actual racism was affirmative action, which the Supreme Court thankfully and
Yes.
mercifully held as unconstitutional last summer. That was against whites, Asians, Christians, and various other groups, not against blacks. So this was a disgusting race baiting speech, but it speaks volumes about the situation that Democrats find themselves in when it comes to trying to lock up the black vote. They are petrified of young black men in particular, basically the people that were right there in the Morehouse College audience.